Hi, Room 14 parents. I just wanted to go ahead and do a quick video, just walking through a few procedures and just a few expectations for when the students arrive next week. As you know, their first day with me will be March 30th, which will be the Tuesday. And so I'm just going to go over a few slides and then hopefully we can get all of our questions answered. If you still have after this video, please go ahead and reach out to me on Class Dojo or give me a phone call, and we can go ahead and discuss any concerns. But this first slide that I have here on my screen is just our typical schedule. So the students who are returning to me in person, we will still have classroom meetings on Mondays on Zoom, and we will be on Zoom completely on Mondays and Mondays only. So we will start our regular Zoom meeting at 8:30, like we normally would with our morning meeting. And we normally go to about 9:15. Sometimes I put there any additional meetings could be added. For example, any small group meetings, any office hour meetings. So I will let the students know on Mondays what that schedule will look like. And then the students will come and see me on campus Tuesdays through Fridays. And the school day will start at 8 a.m. and then they will be with me till 12 p.m. till noon. There are several families who have asked to stay on Zoom for the rest of the school year. So if that is you and your family and your child, your student will just remain on Zoom Monday through Friday. And we are going to try to keep the same schedule, logging in at 8:30 till 9:15 till 9:30 for language arts, and then again at 10:15 for math. So their Zoomer schedule will stay the same. It's just for the students who are coming back in person. We are going to go ahead and meet at Harding instead of on Zoom. The next slide that I have here is just a drop-off zone. And so typically the students will go ahead and or you as the parent, right, will drive through the drop-off and pickup zone that is at the front of the school. This is the one that we have done for all of the drive-through assemblies, the one you would normally do before the school closure. And so you're just going to go ahead and drive through the front of the school. There are going to be some cones for you to go ahead and stop and make sure we are, socially distanced. But you're going to go ahead and let the student get off the car. The student will be the only one to get off the car. And then what we ask for you as a parent is to not drive off just yet because the student does have to get their temperature checked. And if the temperature is not within the normal range, right, we will ask for you to go ahead and take the child home. So one thing that we do ask is the pupil supervisor, any administrator that is out there, it possibly could even be myself. We do ask that you do not drive away just yet until we give you the okay that your child's temperature is okay, and then you can go ahead and take off. But like I said, any staff member, myself, a pupil supervisor, and administrator would be there to give you the okay first. And this next slide, once a student gets off the car, the first thing we are going to ask them to do is go ahead and sanitize their hands. And we are going to have a sanitizing station that kind of looks just like this. So once they get off the car, you do see at the bottom of the picture, there is kind of like a red pedal. The student will go ahead and press that pedal with their foot, and then it will go ahead and dispense the hand sanitizer. Of course, they will sanitize their hands, and then they will go ahead and move on to the next station, which is the temperature check station. And both of these hand sanitizing and temperature checks will be at the front gate. So as a student gets off, right, they sanitize their hands, they check their temperature, and then once the supervisor gives them the okay, then you can drive off, right? But the temperature check is going to be a scanner just like this. It kind of looks like the ones we have at the airport. You will see on my screen, there's like a little box on one of the sides. And so what the student will do is they will go ahead and hold their wrist up and out and kind of push it towards the scanner to scan the inner part of their wrist. And so they will go ahead and push it up to the box. It'll go ahead and make a loud beep. And then we will read their temperature. Hopefully it's within normal range, right? And then the student will go ahead and walk into campus, and then that's your okay to drive off, right? So some of the supervisors will give you a thumbs up or they're good, right? And then we can go ahead and take off. Once a student goes into school, right, they will go ahead and start with their day, start with breakfast, and we'll go ahead and take over from there. So one thing I do want to let you and your families know at home is that we've been working in the classroom to make sure all the desks and the tables are spaced out, right? And they're maintaining all social distancing rules and guidelines. And so I've just went ahead here and included a few pictures of what the classroom looks like, just so that you can see the desks and how they are spaced out. You can see in these two pictures, the front row of desks have the partition, which is the white kind of display that's on their desk. I didn't put them on all of them. That way you could see the desks and how they are spaced apart. And I didn't want it blocking anything in the picture. But what you will see is they are all socially distanced. On the floor, there is also some blue masking tape. That way the student knows to kind of stay within the blue masking tape, stay within their square. And they will also, each student will have a desk, right? And then also the partition, which is that white plastic on top of their desk. And so they are all, as of now, they are all 3 feet apart because our CDC guidelines have gone from 6 feet apart to being able to hold 3 feet apart. So our desk kind of did get rearranged today, but I think it just looks much better this way. They still have 6 feet between them and the person in front of them. It's just their desks are only 3 feet apart. But because of the students 3 feet in front of them, they're 3 feet within their desk, they'll have that 6 feet social distancing still. And so if you have any questions about the classroom so far, like I said, please feel free to send me a message. One thing that a lot of parents had many questions about was the dress code. And so as of now, our principal, Harding Elementary, is letting you as a parent decide whether or not you would like to send your child in uniform. I know some students may have uniform from years before that still fit, great, right? They can go ahead and wear uniform, or they are also allowed to wear regular clothes as well. It's completely up to you, whatever the student feels more comfortable with. We just ask that if they do wear regular clothes, they just go ahead and follow the dress code that we still maintain at Harding. And so what I did on the next slide was I went ahead and listed just a few dress code like requirements that I thought would probably work best, something that's very easy to find. And so I went ahead and started with just shirts and blouses. We just hope that all t-shirts have sleeves and a collar, so no tank tops. We would hope they would be tucked in, but I know it tends to happen, they get untucked. And the good thing is that we are getting the students a school shirt when they return. So school shirts are allowed. Any type of Harding shirts that they've had this year or previous years, more than welcome. And then we would just hope, right, that they're not mid-dress shirts, so they're not kind of like a crop top. They obviously cover the entire front body of the student. And then for bottoms, we would just hope that they would stay at the hip line, right, so no baggy pants. And then if they wear shorts, we want to just make sure that they are not too short, right? So they are just kind of long enough for the student to feel comfortable. And so I know a lot of students like to wear hats. Sometimes we will be spending some time outside for PE, for recess, maybe possibly a brain break. Even for breakfast, we will be eating outside. So we would hope that if they were to bring a cap, they would be able to wear it out to protect them from the sun. We would also ask that they wear it bill forward. And then most likely when they get indoors, I'm going to go ahead and have them take it off. Especially with them wearing a mask, it's going to be really hard for me to see their faces with the hat and the mask. So they will be asked to take it off once they get back in the classroom. And then anything additional, any extra garments, we just ask that they wear closed shoes. I know some of my girls like to wear flip-flops. It might be a little bit tough to do like PE or recess. So just go ahead and keep that in mind. And then we do have school sweatpants and sweatshirts. So if that's something they would want to wear, those are also allowed too. And so if you have any additional questions about dress code, like I said, please feel free to let me know. One thing we are going to ask the students is that they all come to class, so they all come to school with a mask every day. I know that a lot of students have a collection at home. They can go ahead and wear the ones they bring from home, right? But we do ask them to wear a mask every single day, and they will wear it all day besides breakfast, possibly snack, and maybe to drink some water. But they will have it on for the remainder of the day. And I will go ahead and go over some classroom rules and procedures when they come back to me, just to remind them about that face mask requirement. Harding Elementary will be providing 2 masks to the students. So I'm not sure if they will be here in time when the students arrive on the 30th. But we're going to be providing each student with 2 school masks with our logo on it. That way, if maybe they get one dirty, they can go ahead and wash it and have another one like right next door to go ahead and use it for the next day. So we're hoping once those come in, we will go ahead and distribute them. We are also going to be having the students have their own individual supplies. So what I've been preparing is for the students to have their own pencil box with their own pencil, crayons, glue, scissors. So they will also have their own magazine holder with their writing materials, any workbooks. And so what I will let the students know is that their pencil box, their magazine holder is entitled to them. They're the only ones that are going to be touching those materials. And the way I've separated them in the classroom, they're put in cubbies, they're put in different areas just to make sure they're spaced apart. But we will not be sharing any materials. Each child will have their own set of materials and they will only touch those for the entire day. So we're going to get used to kind of just adjusting to that, adjusting to grabbing those when they come in. So I will go ahead and walk them through that once. The day begins once we arrive on Tuesday, but don't worry about bringing any materials. Most of the ones they are going to need are already in the classroom and they already have their number or their name on them. The only thing that I am going to ask you as the families, as the parents, is that they start to bring back the workbooks that they have at home. So when they got their backpack back in August, right, they had a Wonders workbook, they had a Go Math workbook, they had a planner. And so I am going to ask for them to bring those materials back. But what I'm going to start with first is the planner. So when they come back to me on Tuesday, March 30th, I want them to come with their planner in their hand. Nothing else, right? Just a face mask and their planner. But they will go ahead and bring those into me. I will wipe them down and put them in their magazine bin, depending on their number. They're already numbered for them. So I'll put them on their classroom number. And then we will just go ahead and let them sanitize overnight. And then we'll use them the next day on Wednesday to start using it in the classroom. So first thing, planner first. And then we'll kind of work our way through the week and we'll start figuring out when Wonders will come back, when our Go Math workbooks will come back, and vice versa. But I will let the students know when they are with me at Harding, and then I will also let you know through Class Dojo so we can make sure those workbooks start to come back because we will continue to use them for the remainder of the school year, just in the classroom from now on. If your child is staying on Zoom for the rest of the school year, those materials will just stay at home and they'll just pull them out when we pull them out in the classroom. So it'll just kind of it'll just take us a few minutes extra, I believe, to go ahead and get everything together. But your child will just keep those at home and pull them out when we need them. But like I said, planner first. So go ahead and plan for that planner to be the first thing to come back on March 30th. We just want to remind parents that if your child, for any reason, one morning wake up feeling sick, or maybe they have a fever or a high temperature, go ahead and just have them stay home for the day. Go ahead and just call the Harding office and let them know that your child will be out sick, and then we can go ahead and work out the absence. But if your child does become sick at school for any reason, if we see any like cough or any headaches, or if we see maybe they're running a fever, they're getting very warm, we do have a classroom or a trailer that we refer to as the sick room. And any child who has any type of symptoms will be sent to that sick room where they will be seen by a nurse. The nurse will go ahead and evaluate them. And then if they think it's best to send the child home, that's when we will call you as the parent and just ask that somebody, right, a parent, a guardian, a family member, come to pick up the child at Harding. This is very important because we're not sure like if anybody has been exposed. And so as soon as you get that phone call, we really need you to come and pick up your child just so that we don't risk any more exposure if that is a possibility. So it is very important that when you get that call, we go ahead and try to pick up the student as quickly as possible to go ahead and get them off campus, and then we can figure out if they need to get COVID tested, or maybe it was just a simple cough, or maybe it was just simple flu, anything like that. But once they're off campus and once we evaluate them in the sick room, we can kind of go about figuring out what that next step is. The next slide is just letting you know that, of course, staff will be wearing a mask at all times as well. Some of us may have additional PPE equipment like face shields. So if you see us with masks or with additional face shields, don't be alarmed. We're just going to go ahead and try to protect ourselves and also protect the students. So that's something you might see when going by and dropping off your student at Harding. Another thing, I'm going to remind the students, that we are going to practice social distancing and keeping just that 6 feet apart at all times. We will also take that 6 feet into effect during recess, during PE. So we will be asking the students to do individual activities during their recess or break time, just so that we maintain the 6 feet apart, right? We do not mind if they talk to one another, but one thing I found might be very useful, I have bought in each student a hula hoop, and they will be assigned one hula hoop, and they will sit hopefully within the hula hoop. And if we can distance the students enough, that way they can still talk to each other, but they remain in the hula hoop, we will still be able to maintain that 6 feet. And so even if they decide to sit and chat for recess, as long as they're within the hula hoop and we can measure that 6 feet distance, they will go ahead and be able to do that during a break or recess or PE or something like that. We will also really be enforcing hand washing stations. So the students will be washing their hands before they eat. So they will be washing their hands before breakfast, after breakfast. They will be washing their hands as they enter the classroom. They'll be washing their hands before recess, after recess. They'll be washing their hands when exiting the classroom. So we are going to be using a lot of our time just to go ahead and practice those hand washing routines. We do have a sink in the classroom, and so we will go ahead and continue to use that. All of the soap dispensers, the paper towel dispensers are in my classroom as well, and they are all touch-free. So it's just a matter of a wave and the soap comes out, right? The paper towel gets dispensed. So we will go ahead and I will show them how that works. That way we can practice washing our hands and just, practicing those guidelines. Hand sanitizer. We are going to have a hand sanitizer also touch-free in the classroom. So we will be also reminding students to be constantly sanitizing their hands throughout the day. And again, I will show them how to use this once they arrive in the classroom, because it will also look like the one they use in the morning, right, with the foot pedestal to go ahead and dispense the sanitizer. As mentioned before, there might be other staff members on campus. I know there is another classroom on campus. We might see maybe a librarian working from the library, some office staff. And so we will all be wearing face masks, so that might be some administrators that you see on campus. So not just myself, but you will see other pupil supervisors, other administrators, possibly other teachers who are working from Harding right now, but we will all be wearing face masks and of course just trying to stay that 6 feet apart. Another thing is a lot of my families have asked if students can bring water bottles to campus, and unfortunately they can't. But what we are doing is the school has purchased that each student get a tumbler, which is kind of like this pink cup that I have here on my slide. It is just going to be a cup with a straw, completely plastic. And when the students arrive, they will each get a school tumbler with our logo. And then what we are going to do is I'm going to go ahead and have a station for them to place their water bottle right on their classroom number. That way the water bottles stay organized and separated. They will be able to fill up that water bottle with our touchless water refill stations that we have right outside my classroom, actually. So if they run out of water, they will be allowed to go out, refill it with the touchless water, refill, and then they'll go ahead and screw the top back on, get a sip of water, and then come back into the classroom. These tumblers will not leave Harding though, so they will stay in my classroom at all times, and we will only ask the student to maybe wash them maybe every other day, maybe once a week, and the student will be the one washing them. We will provide a sponge, some soap. They will wash the tumbler and then let it dry for the day, and then come back tomorrow and hopefully refill it up for the new day. We will also provide any water bottles, so if the student maybe feels the need to just fill it with the water bottle, we also have those ready in the cafeteria as well. So a tumbler and a water bottle will be provided to your student every day, but the tumblers will stay with me in my classroom. The last slide that I have here is just some last things to remember. I'm not going to ask the students to bring backpacks just yet. So the backpacks will stay home. The only item that will be coming to me the first day so far is the planner. And then as the days progress, we'll try to figure out what day works best to bring the Wonders workbook back, the math workbook back, and then we can kind of just go from there. But we'll go ahead and start with the planner first, and then I'll keep you updated about those extra materials. So please, no backpacks, just because it's hard right now to store them, just because we're making room for so many other materials. So no backpacks. They will just be getting off mostly every day, just them and their mask. Another reminder is just that the students will be given breakfast every morning. They will be sitting 6 feet apart. As of right now, we are down to 3 feet. So we will be having the students socially distance while they eat breakfast. They will take off their mask, quickly eat, and then go ahead and enter the classroom, and we can go ahead and start our day. They will also be provided a sack lunch every day that they leave at noon. And so the cafeteria staff will go ahead and provide them with a sack lunch that they will pick up and take home right before they walk out the front gate, and go ahead and get released to you at noon. So every day they will have the opportunity to have a breakfast and a lunch. And then last reminder is just, again, the sick room, right? So they will be monitored by a nurse during that time, and then you will get a call if your child does need to be picked up. But if not, they will just come back into the classroom if everything clears and they tend to feel okay. So after this PowerPoint, if you still have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out to me on Class Dojo, give me a phone call. Many of you, or all of you, have my email as well. But we are going to be reaching out to all of our families at home just so that we can just ask a few more questions, give you a few heads up. But we are on track with sending out some consent forms. And so those consent forms need to be signed by you before the student returns to me on Tuesday. They are going to be sent out through HelloSign, which is, some of you may recognize it. It's how we've been signing all of the IEP documents. You will sign completely electronically. If you would like to sign in person on a paper document, we can also get that set up for you as well. So if we make those phone calls and you prefer to sign in person, let me know and we can figure that out, and when a good time and day is best for you and for our office staff. But the best thing might be just to sign electronically. It's just a quick signature with a pen, like a stylus or a finger. I believe you type in your name and the date, and then it sends it to us right away. If you do not know how to use HelloSign, if you've never used it before, feel free to let me know. I can also walk you through that. But keep an eye out for those consent forms. They're coming out to your email that you provided the school with, and they're coming out this week. So keep an eye out for those emails. Send it in. That way your student is ready to go with me on the 30th. You can probably see my excitement. I hope the students are as excited as I am. And so I'm just getting some final details ready, but any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I hope this video answers many of your questions, and we'll see you on the 30th. So thank you, and let me know if you have any questions.